It's a beautiful thing. I have 3 words. We did it. Yeah. The key part of that phrase is we. It has been an amazing, amazing process to watch this unfold and to be a part of an unfolding vision and seeing each person come forward to give their gift, to play in ways that they wanted to play, to bring their talents forward. It's been remarkable. And because I've spent an extraordinary amount of time here of late, I've gotten to watch all of the people. So I did some little calculations in my head, so they're within 20 to 30%. Little margin of error there. But I'm figuring somewhere between 150 and 200 people have participated in the remodel in some way of being volunteers, cleaning. When we did the demolition, there was a demolition crew. Then there was a crew that knew how to build stuff, and they built. And then there was a crew that cleaned up after the people that demolitioned and cleaned. I mean, it's just been a remarkable thing to watch. So 150, 200 people have actually participated with the construction people that have been in here. It has been absolutely remarkable. I also was just looking at our board out there, the Share a Chair program. We've had at least 10 other spiritual communities, Centers for Spiritual Living, that have supported our vision through their gifts and tithes. I've had at least 3 other ministerial colleagues who have shared a chair because they believe in what we're doing. It has been a remarkable and wonderful thing. And so some would like to say, wow, Marty, you have done a great job. And I have. But I always respond by, we have done a great job, because I am very, very aware that I didn't do this thing. Plus, I don't want to take credit for it, because then if it goes bad, you're going to want to blame me. So I'm just kind of hedging my bets now, So we've been looking at this wonderful book by Deepak Chopra on the 7 spiritual laws of success. And I see how relevant it is for us to keep coming back to the basics of what makes life work, of how do we create the life that we are designed to have. And I'm just so grateful. I don't know about you, but when I went to school for many, many years, and I learned all kinds of things, but what I didn't seem to learn was how to make my life work. And so having gotten a good education and done some things, I still managed to screw it up royally, right? And so when I found myself in a place of crisis, I said, I've got to do my life differently. And as it turned out, I found a place called a religious science center where they taught spiritual principles that have helped me to realize that I can create my life the way I want it. And it inspired me so much that I thought, I think I want to share this. And so my path of ministry was born with just a little bit of resistance. So it's appropriate that we get to talk today about the law of least resistance. And what Deepak Chopra is telling us is that in the spiritual laws, it's helpful to remember that the divine doesn't effort. Think about it. If you go back and read the first creation story in the Bible, it says, there's 7 days and all these wonderful things happen. But can you imagine if God was all about efforting? He'd be like, oh my God, have you looked at my week? Do you see what I have? Oh, how am I going to make this happen? But rather, there is simply this let there be consciousness, simply allowing. A plant does not effort itself into expression. It simply grows according to its own nature. And everything in life works according to its own nature. We have a unique place in the cosmos, and some of us have some mistaken ideas. You see, when it's all said and done, we teach that there is a universal and divine intelligence. There is one life, one power, one divine being, whatever you want to call that, whatever name you assign it. But there is an intelligence that is at work, that is manifesting itself into form. And so there is an invisible universe that is then taking form and becoming the physical universe. It is not separate from, it is simply an intelligence at work in the realm of form. And so Deepak talks about this idea as the pure potentiality, this energy that is resonant everywhere in everything. It is all that is this divine energy. And some of us believe that that pure potentiality somehow exists out there, separate and away from us. Some of us even think that we could access that. If we could bring it into our being, then we could get some things done. But the great metaphysicians through the ages, and I include Jesus as one of them, has taught us that it is in this divine presence that we live and move and have our being, that we are one with this divine energy. And so we do not have to effort to have life work. We have to simply recognize that the nature of life is to reveal itself. And when we learn that, life becomes easy. Did you know that was a possibility? I don't know. I missed that in school as well. I learned about how hard it had to be and struggle. And so some of us began to believe that this pure potentiality worked some of the time, but not all of the time. Some of us may have come to believe that this pure potentiality worked for some and not for others. Nobody obviously in this room, but others that you may know or you may encounter in life believe that. But what I would suggest to you, and what the great metaphysicians through the ages have suggested, is that there is a divine creative intelligence, and that when we cooperate with it according to its nature, then life simply becomes, simply reveals itself. I always use the phrase that we don't have to make something happen as much as we need to allow something to happen. We need to allow life to work through us. And what that requires of us then is we have to do our inner work. You see, all of what we're about here, you can get the principles that we teach anywhere. I mean, it is not... I remember Mary Morrissey talking about how back in the day when some of us were new to metaphysics in our younger version of these bodies, and, you had to go to occult stores to get this kind of teachings, right? These little dark, mysterious places that had occult teachings, and we'd learn about this. But now you can go anywhere and find out there are laws of life that reflect your thinking. And if you change your thinking, you can indeed change your life. So it is not that we have some secret version of truth. It is that we have a place that we might practice what it is we know. Because it does take practice, have you noticed? But this wonderful law of least resistance says, first of all, what we need to do is just to learn to accept. Just accept what is. You see, resistance is all about resisting what is. It shouldn't be this way. I'm telling you, it shouldn't be this way. And not only should it not be this way, I'm mad that it is this way. And not only that, I'm going to take all this energy and I'm going to bundle it up in my body and see what happens. Right? So we accept what is. And then we get to look at, having accepted what is, we get to look at being responsible for what is. And being responsible for our place in changing. If we don't like what's going on, then what do we change? Here's a secret. You. I want to save you about 20 years. That was wow. I'm just going to save you that time because I kept thinking if I could get everybody else to be different, then my life would work. But what I finally began to realize that if I would be responsible for myself and my reactions and my responses and my choices, my life began to work. And lastly, Deepak tells us that we must learn to be defenseless. I don't know if you know this, but there are people, some you may know well, who think they have to justify who they are, how they show up for life, why they deserve, all that sort of thing. And it turns out we don't. We can be defenseless. We can simply allow. You see, one of the things I meant to do, and I'll get that out of the way now, is this has been a long process. Not that long in the scheme of things, but it's been a very intense period of time for us as a community, for my own role within it. And so I got really tired. I mean, I found myself getting really tired and a little cranky. So my strategy was I would invite my evil twin brother in to take over for a little bit. And so I just want to apologize for him. Because he thought, you think I'm cranky? Oh, you should meet him. Bitchy, oof, baby, I'm telling you. So on his behalf, I just want to apologize to anyone he may have offended along the way. And I'm back. I just want you to know, he's not as enlightened as I am. I am back, and so we thank him for his service. So in this process, we come back to the thing, and I've proven it over and over these last few months, is every time it started to get rocky and stressful, and this one didn't do what they said they were going to do, and I wanted to react, and I wanted to pick up the phone, I wanted to call people, and I wanted, it was like, take a breath, breathe. Breathing is a really good strategy just in life anyways. Breathing deeply is even better. And go, what's the truth? What is the truth? And I've come back to the idea that this is God's church. This isn't my church. This isn't your church. This is God's church. And we serve it. So let us serve it with grace and with joy and with love and with dignity. And then, oddly enough, things would start flowing again. So much to the point that just this week, the people that had to finalize our building inspection and fire marshal and all that have been absolutely gracious and bent over backwards to help us get here. And so I've watched how if we're willing to allow life, then people rush in to support that. And so much, I have to share this story. So this last week, we were really in a crunch. We've had all kinds of things to make sure that you're safe, and to make sure that we won't burn down, all these sorts of things. And it was really challenging. And so the building inspector was wonderful in helping us get the permit, and the fire marshal was wonderful. And I talked to him on Friday, and here's part of the conversation I had with him. He said, we talked about all the business stuff we had to do. And then he said, I just want to tell you personally, what you guys are doing in the world is wonderful. You're making a difference. And we are grateful that you're a part of our city. South Salt Lake. Wonderful. But again, it's that idea. I've watched the workers who don't even know who we are or what we're about just kind of feel into the vibe of what we're doing here, and everybody doing their part. I've watched volunteers I have so many pictures of people with above the ceiling and just these legs, and we'll have to figure out who those are. And, and so many people with their backside because they're doing something on the floor, and we'll have to figure out who those are. We'll have to figure out who all these people are because it's been a remarkable and wonderful process, and I'm so grateful. But then Deepak goes on to talk about this idea the fourth law, which is the law of intention and desire. And I love this law because it is the heart and the soul of what we teach. Because we are not separate from the one divine and creative intelligence, but rather we are a part of it. We are co-creative beings within that intelligence. In other words, there's one intelligence, and we are directive of that intelligence through our thought, through our thinking, through our intention. Now, as I said, many of us would like to believe that works for some, but not all. Some of us would like to believe that that works some of the time, not all of the time. And I'm here to tell you it works all of the time for everyone. And so it has to do with what is the intention that we hold. Now, why we want to work on developing consciousness is because we want to have the consciousness that allows greater good to be revealed through us. One of the great metaphysical teachers and rabbis of all time, my friend Jesus, said many things, but he told stories. And I've shared this story before, but it's one of my favorites because it encapsulates these teachings. And he talked about a man who was walking along the path and had seeds with him. And he said, you know, as they were going along, some of the seeds fell by the wayside. And they fell on rocky ground where the birds came and plucked them up and took them away. And some of the seeds fell on shallow soil. Where they are planted, they sprung up. But when the sun came in its fullness, they withered and died. And some of the seeds found rich, fertile soil. And when they were planted in that soil, they grew and they prospered and they multiplied. I want to suggest to you today that perhaps that is more than a gardening story. And perhaps maybe there's some laws of life that we might find in said story. These, I believe, this is the story of the intention and desire. You see, so often we don't realize that we're always planting seeds. We're always working with a universal law. We're always working with an intelligence. And so we say really stupid things. There's no way I could afford that. Is that an intention? Does the universe respond to it? Yes. Some of you have demonstrated perfectly your inability to afford your desire. And so we cast these seeds in rocky places. We don't wonder why they don't spring forth. And then others, finding this new teaching, finding this new way of being, go, this is cool. First of all, we want to immediately go home and share it with our spouse because they really need to know it. This is what they've been looking for. It would really help them. You know who you are. Or if it's not your spouse, it's your kid, it's your neighbor, it's somebody, right? We always go, oh, they need to hear that. Just saying. And so we work with it, and we begin to work with it, and then, wow, we manifest something. A new relationship, a new car, a new something or other, and we're like, wow, this stuff really works. And then we're like, cool, that was great, wonderful, thank you, I'm going to go work my life. It was really wonderful. And then at some point they come back and they're like, I don't know what happened. It was working so well, and then it all kind of fell apart. It's because the soil has not been fertile. It has not been deepened. And so things can spring up into our life, but if we don't have the consciousness to hold that, then they wither away. But some of us, some seeds found fertile soil. And when they found fertile soil, they grew and they multiplied and they prospered. And you see, what we are sitting in today is a divine idea cultivated and nurtured and prayed over and worked over and all of the things so that now we walk into this space and it feels like home. It looks remarkably similar to the diagram that we put in our sanctuary a year and a half ago. That's just crazy. I mean, what kind of coincidence is that? That my life would look exactly like what I had imagined. Just saying. There is a law of intention and desire. And we have done the work. We have done the work. We have prayed together. We have played together. We have cried together. We have laughed together. We have developed the consciousness, and we have developed the sense that we deserve this. Doesn't this look like more like us? Yeah. I think so. So, I want to suggest to you our ongoing work is not about finding the right seed. It is about developing the soil. It is about cultivating the consciousness. And I don't know about you, but what I saw so clearly in my evil brother who showed up here was he's got some work to do. I mean, it was as if he didn't know truth at all in certain moments. And if you don't believe it, there are others that will attest to the evilness of my evil twin. Right? Because this isn't what the world is telling us. The world is saying if you get the form, you're going to be happy. If you get more money, you will be abundant. If you have loving relationships in your life, then you're going to feel love. And what we are saying is most of the world has it 180 degrees wrong. That if we will develop the consciousness of the thing, there is a law working through the law of least effort that will bring it into being. And so you will have experiences where instead of having a fire marshal who's trying to stop you, he's telling you what important work you're doing and that you're a blessing to this city. It's crazy. I'm telling you, it's crazy stuff. And it works. So, here's what I know. We're always in a question of saying, now what? I remember this community has been in some form of study group, church, whatever, for 50 years. So I'm very humbled by that. I'm humbled as I was looking at this piano dedicated to a minister that served here 20 years ago. Great man. I'm humbled at all that happened before. So please hear me when I say this. But when I got to be involved over the last 3.5 years, we were in a big what, now what question. The minister had left, we were homeless, and we were in a place of now what? Kind of with those big eyes, now what, right? Now what? We said, you know what? Let's do the work. Let's do the work. And we have done the work. And so now we're in a building, and the question is, now what? And the now what is be clear that this building is just a body. It's just a form so that we can do our work. And our work is about reaching out to those who would want to know these teachings, those who would want to have a place to be part of community, those who want to learn how to enhance their life, those who want to learn how to work through the power of intention and desire, those who are looking for a new way of being in the world. That's our work. And as I see and these beautiful little babies that are in our room, it is for them that we build this community. Shouldn't have gone there. The kids get me every time. So our now what? In case you're feeling like, cool, we're here, we're done. Oh no. Now, as I keep saying to people, I'm so looking forward to doing ministry again. The last 3 months have been a form of ministry that I was sorely ill-equipped for, but I surrounded myself with amazing people. I'm not going to start the thank you because, as I said, there's over 150 people that have been actively engaged. We will have celebrations around that. So here we are. We created this together, and it's a beautiful and good thing. I'm proud of what we've accomplished. Let us pray. As we simply turn inward, honoring and acknowledging this one divine life, this infinite presence that is forever and ever seeking its highest self-expression in and through its creation. And we are reminded in this moment there is no separation. There's only the one life as its creation, as each and every part. And so we open our hearts in this moment to experience the presence of divine love, to sense and to feel and to know that we are loved, that we are cared for, that we matter. And we open our hearts to divine wisdom, to know that there is a storehouse of awareness and knowledge always available to us. We enter into this holy and sacred space where we recognize the divine truth that we are each individualized points of light, each revealing the beauty, the love, the joy, the harmony of God. And so we set a new intention for ourselves in this moment. We're speaking the word of truth, recognizing that our divine nature is one of wholeness. And we allow that wholeness to be expressed and revealed as health, as well-being, as vitality. We give thanks for these perfect vessels that allow our spirit to experience this life. We speak the word of truth this day as we are recognizing the transformative power of divine love. We allow our lives to be healed and transformed through the power of unconditional love. We joyously and freely forgive ourselves and others. We sense and know that life is simply seeking to know love through us and as us. We speak this word of truth this day as we recognize and know that we are abundant beings right here and right now. For we are created from abundance itself. And so we joyously and lovingly allow our greater good to be revealed. We graciously receive and joyously give of the divine bounty. How good it is to stand witness, to bear witness to the transformative power of love and of life. And so we know that we are blessed. In this very moment, we are blessed. And so we give thanks and we extend a blessing. We bless this spiritual community. We know that we are divinely guided and prospered as we go about our greater mission, to be a healing presence in the world, to be a transformative force for good. We know that all that is necessary for that divine unfoldment has already been provided. We extend a blessing from this place to our brothers and sisters around the planet. I know that there is a new consciousness evolving on this planet. And even though it sometimes looks like chaos and confusion, there is a divine order that is emerging, bringing forth peace, cooperation, harmony, and love. And so we bless our brothers and sisters around the planet this day. We bless the planet itself. We are knowing a world that works for everyone and a planet at peace. And as always, we bless all priests, rabbis, ministers, teachers of every faith. For we recognize and know that there are many pathways to the divine. We honor and bless them and name them good. For all these blessings and so many more, I'm giving thanks. And I'm grateful that there is a law of mind operating on the consciousness that we have established, bringing forth the highest good for all in perfect timing and in divine right order. And so with a very grateful heart, I simply give thanks and allow it to be so, as together we say, and so it is.